Alright, folks, hello and welcome back to Downstage Gaming. I'm your host, Josh, and this is part 15 of our B-Sides Let's Play of The Letter. Well, I think, folks, this time we are going to be finishing off Rebecca's chapter. There's not much left here before we finish, but we'll see. In the meantime, last time when we left off, we went to the house party with Ash, and things went, slightly differently. Part of it was the context that we'd actually gone there with Ash as our date, and the other bit was that Hannah was possessed, or, you know, had that sort of difference. Didn't end the party, sort of, like she did our first time around. And then we got in a bit of a fight, bit of a tussle with Ash at the end here, and here we are at the end of the night after that. The moon is almost at its highest by the time we reach Salemwell. Even after our respective heads have cooled off, the atmosphere within the car remains rife with unspoken tension. This isn't a problem so easily fixed with a few handshakes. Have we seen this? Yes, we have.
This again? It's been a week, Becca.
I thought we already agreed that was a dumb Halloween prank. No need to bring in the old guy.
It says again as though like I brought that up before. I don't remember doing that necessarily. Alright, so we got in touch with Andrew. Andrew convinces us that we should go to the library. I didn't realize how close I was at the end last time. Alright, we get freaked out. So we found out some things in the library, if I'm remembering correctly. Some information about sort of the history of things. And then we get sort of abandoned here in a weird spiritual version of the library. And last time we headed upstairs because I followed a clue that I thought was right, but this time we're headed straight for the door. We're getting the heck out of here. If there's one, it is out of this room, out of this place, so as far away as anyone can get from her. I can think about the rest of what I can do when I'm outside, when there are other people I can ask for help, when she's not chasing after me like this. There's no hesitation in my steps as I race for the restricted section's door, head downstairs, and barrel straight for the library's exit. Towards safety, in my desperate bid for my life, library rules be damned. That's right. Or rebel now. Screw the rules. I can no longer hear her behind me, but I'm not taking any chances. A breath almost escapes me as I near the door. A little more, when out of nowhere a library card careens from a blind corner and slams to my sides. My back hits the floor with a hard thud, the impact completely knocking the breath out of me. The copper tang of blood gradually spreads over my tongue as I fight to get my bearings back. I force myself to move, even with the excruciating pain coursing through my limbs. The exit's almost there. If only I can... But there's no moment's respite. Ugh. Next thing I know, there's a heavy weight atop me and cold digits slide around my neck, tight like a vice, pressing, closing in, leaving me gasping for air. Through my blurred vision, I can only make out the hateful gleam, the spite in her eyes as she looms over my body, and her grip on my throat grows tighter. Desperation kicks in. My nails dig into her wrists as I struggle against her firm grip, trying to pry her fingers away.
Let go. Let me go.
Keep the slide within the creep moving the arrows. Okay, alright, I think I understand. Wait, I don't understand. Wait, I did not. I didn't understand. Too strong. Her hold on me is too strong. My lungs begin to ache, burning with the lack of air, the pain growing worse with every second I writhe under her punishing grip.
Somebody help me.
Darkness starts to fill the edges of my vision, and soon the world fades. I don't even get a fun spooky jump scare from that. All right, well, let's try it again. I'm gonna try to read it for real this time. Keep the slider within the grip by moving the mouse in the arrow's direction. Okay. I think I understand now. There it is. Okay. Nice slap, Becca. Was not expecting that. Beast mode indeed. I don't think twice. My limbs are moving on their own before what I did could fully register in my brain. My lungs could recover. Behind me, she lets out a cry, sharp, loud, and thunderous against the empty walls of the library. But the fear her wails bring compares nothing to the relief washing over me when I finally make it out. My knees buckle as soon as my feet hits the pavement, its surface cold and hard against my skin. I've only been in there for a few hours, about 1 or 2 probably. I don't know anymore. It feels like an eternity all the same. My breathing hasn't slowed down yet, and I don't expect it to after going through that. I probably look the most undignified creature on a Sunday morning right now. Out of breath, disheveled, slumped here with a bloodied lip and all. Everyone's judging me. But at present, I simply can't bring myself to care, even when a few passerbys start giving me strange looks. Stare at me all you want, I don't give a single shite. I'm alive. I'm safe. This isn't the end yet, but I'm safe. And inside my bag is something that could get us out of this mess. Nothing definite yet, I don't want to get my hopes up, but it's still something. If Isabella is here, I'm sure she'll feel the same. She'll even be the first one who will put her faith on it. Wherever this will lead us to is a victory on its own. Now all that's left is to find the others, and the rest of us trapped in this bloody nightmare. Right on cue, as if an answer to my previous thought, my mobile phone lets out a beep. I pick it up, simply hoping it'll be one of them. Only, it's a voicemail that greets me. From Ashton. There's a pang of disappointment, of course, but it brings some reassurance that nothing's happened to at least one of them.
Hey, Becca, call me back when you're free. We need to talk. ASAP.
He ends it right there. The message less than a minute long, curt, and gives nothing away. I let it ease my worries regardless, and do as he asks, because this too is another triumph for us. One less thing to worry about. Alright, so we made it into chapter 6 then with Ashton. Rebecca's alive. Everything's coming up. Well, most of them. I mean, I'm trying to think right now. Everybody's technically alive right now, right? Like, Isabella's in a coma, sure. Hannah's possessed, sure. But Zach's alive, Marianne's alive, Rebecca's alive. B-sides turned out to be real. I mean, we know things are probably going to go bad for Ashton. And God only knows what the deal with Luke is. But, alright, I'm imagining just like Becca, we are going to see a very different version of Ashton's story here. But let's get right into it. See what happens here. Parties have never been really my thing. They're always such a hassle, and it takes so much to have we seen it? Yes, we have. Okay.
Can't you at least act with a bit more shame?
Becca, if I find a single scratch on Shirley, there will be hell to pay.
Yes, we all remember this from last episode. Oh, we're so vaguely in love, but not really. He might have already done so with Isabella. And I wasn't able to do a single thing to keep her safe. I can't let the same mistake happen again. I doubt he'll attempt anything in front of other people, though. It would tarnish his glorious reputation. He values appearances more than anything. We're talking about Luke Wright, if you forgot. That doesn't necessarily mean he's incapable of it. More than, in fact. And the off chance he does something, I wouldn't be responsible for my actions.
Those guys
We've
know
definitely
what
seen
they're
this.
doing. They're handling cars worth more than your precious Shirley.
For Zachary and Rebecca's sakes, however, I really hope this will simply be another housewarming party. Even though something tells me it's anything but. Call it a detective's intuition or whatever. Call it a completely random assumption. When Luke Wright's involved, nothing good has ever come out of it. I can't let my guard down here. Even more so when a familiar car slows to a stop and out comes...
Chief?
Chihuahua? My presence here might be odd at best, but I have an excuse. One this man handed himself to me a year ago, along with a heavy dose of flattery for the newly promoted detective inspector. We've definitely seen this. Although to see him here, chatting it up with Luxborn's rich and famous, isn't such a big surprise in itself. No disrespect meant, but the guy is obviously a social climber. What is surprising is the fact that he seems all too eager to mingle with a person of interest wife. Just what the hell is he doing here?
Ashton, what's...
He's here to get with Hannah, Ash. That's what my detective's intuition is telling me.
Sorry, Becca, I just saw someone I need to catch up with. Longtime friend.
My best buddy. What the shit is going on here?
Wait, Ash, what about...
Forget
This won't
about
be long.
you.
Be careful while I'm gone, okay?
Hey, be careful. About what exactly?
I don't want to draw attention to myself either. At least not until he's given me proper reason to spoil his little party.
Thank you for the invite, Anna. Husband still missing, I see.
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee. The doctors again.
For now, the best I can do is wait and remain inconspicuous, especially with Chief here, whose motives are dubious at best. If it means having to pretend I don't know Zach and Rebecca, or forcing myself to rub elbows with people I barely know, let alone like, then so be it. I can't involve anyone. Wandering is out of the question as well, when there's guards and civvies stationed here and there. Sure, getting past them is something I could do with ease. I'm basically Solid Snake, but I'd rather not right now, when I'm one of the few snooping and roaming about. It'd be best to try and do so once there's a crowd of people. And if their interior designers' drunken claims are to be believed, and they most certainly are.
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24
Curious to
hours?
see. Okay, well, so presumably now then we should be able to, yeah, okay. Alright, so we're at the party, we're eating because we have nothing else to do, we see something spooky happen over there, and then we have the whole bit with Rochelle, things get freaked out, except not really. And then we're here the next day, we get a call from the chief, and chief's like, I want your badge and
A
gun on
friend
my
invited me
desk.
to go with her. What were you doing there?
We have an excuse this time. I don't want things to end here. If this might still have a connection with what happened to Isabella like I first assumed. Chasing a real person is easier than chasing those supernatural things, and I hope to God I'm right on this one.
I just want to know, sir. At the party, with Luke and Hannah Wright, you were...
Monday, Detective Inspector. First thing in the morning.
His picture on the phone looks so different than his picture when it's actually shown in the game. That one seems to bite back at me more often than not lately, if what happened at the hospital is meant to convey anything. Okay, talk on the phone. Oh, also, his profile. There we go. What on earth is he talking about? It's just Mary for being too idealistic again. Okay, so he's being idealistic about Isabella. This is probably the universe telling me that it's better to remain the skeptic I really am. Ashton, it's okay that you're in love. It's alright. Now here I am, standing useless, can't even do anything but grit my teeth and kick the wall. The bastard didn't even acknowledge my response.
What did the poor wall ever do to you?
I've definitely seen this before.
Maybe you even just used me to get into the party.
I mean, I almost certainly did.
You said yes to being my +1, but you were rather excited to just peel yourself off, weren't you?
I just love to peel myself off.
Honestly, I'm feeling a bit used.
I couldn't even look her in the eye. It wasn't that I lied to her. I honestly wanted to be there, to keep Zach safe, to keep Rebecca safe. I just didn't want to have fun with her. Just in case. Client or family friend, it was still a party hosted by a person of interest, by a man accused years ago of murdering a person's wife to get what he wanted. But then Chief showed up, Hannah Wright happened, and Luke Wright just couldn't be bothered to die peacefully somewhere. All of a sudden, none of my original reasons mattered. If I was found out right then and there, hell, if Zach and Rebecca's connection with me was found out, who knows what might have happened. But Rebecca doesn't understand that, doesn't understand what I can and can't say to keep them from harm. It's all in her eyes, the tight line of her lips and her furrowed brows. The hurt.
I'll ask this again. Just what were you up to during the party?
I was really hungry.
What were you doing that you couldn't even take 2 seconds to make time for your friends?
This day is just off to a wonderful start. First my case, now Becca. How do I even go about this? Okay, I don't even remember what I did last. I remember it worked out poorly, is what I remember. We stretched the truth last time, and she was, oh, that's a rather big, okay, alright. This time, we're gonna insist that it's confidential.
It's confidential, Rebecca.
I can't believe that she likes that, but I guess the other one was pretty bad too. I wonder how many times I've told her that. Not just her, my dad, my mom, Zach, and even Isabella. How many times have I told them what essentially boiled down to mind your own business, to make sure they're all safe, to keep them out of danger. My job isn't a game. It isn't as glamorous as the television portrays it to be. I thought so too as a child. I was so clueless back then, wasn't I? But boy, did I learn. The hard knock life. The good guys don't always win, justice isn't always served, investigation is not looking at a crime scene once to get a eureka moment. It's sleepless nights at the crime lab with the tech guys. It's several days wearing the same clothes with Chinese takeout stands because I'm staking out a place. It's frustration when bureaucracy hinders you from looking into a case any further when you know the suspect is guilty, but they get away scot-free on a technicality. It's seeing anger and pain and despair with every case.
I know you have a mountain of questions, but I've told you this so many times before. I can't say much more than that.
Still, the look on Rebecca's face, the resentment, and the pain, it hurts me as well to think that I'm the cause of that. It's a familiar one, too, something I've seen a lot over the years. I wonder how long it'll take before Zack starts giving me the same one. Or until I've hurt Isabel in a way that any sincere apology won't ever be enough. What a mess. I'm a mess, and it's the people close to me who have to suffer for it.
Official police business, huh? So you did use me?
Yes. Used. The way she utters it just makes me feel like a total scumbag. It's not like I did it all on purpose, only part of it was on purpose. But I can't just hold someone else responsible for this, right? Who am I going to blame? The chief? Hannah Wright? Luke Wright? Doing so feels like cowardice. It doesn't change the fact I'm the one who put us in this situation. I couldn't even look at her anymore with this guilt eating me up inside. But then, she laughs. Half-hearted, with barely a hint of cheer in it, but it is a laugh nevertheless. I honestly don't know what to make of it, what to do with myself upon hearing it. It's almost like the mere sound of it is meant to pierce.
The least you could have done is tell me. Maybe I could have helped. Kept an ear and an eye out for you. I don't know. I could have been Irene Adler, maybe?
Her smile doesn't quite reach her eyes, but the mask, she tries so hard for me. I give her a smile of my own, though I imagine it comes off as unenthusiastic as hers. It's far easier to slip back to banter when it's like this, to just brush off everything. At least this way we wouldn't have to deal with awful things.
The woman? Don't flatter yourself. Nancy Blue, more like.
Her sidekick would beg to differ, Ashette.
Couldn't stop a wry grin from forming on my lips. She probably still has the photo from that contest, keeping it in her old diary. I know a bit about them because of the thing that happened last time. I never did find either of the two after I threatened to burn them. In the end, I just never brought it up again, hoping she'd just forget about the whole thing. But the small smile on her face says a lot. Those were good times. A lot simpler, a lot more peaceful. Now things have changed. We're no longer the same people we were as kids. Growing up together doesn't mean it always has to be just the two of us in the first place. It's a dumb notion to believe in when nothing ever remains constant. Things will inevitably change through the years. In fact, it already has, long ago. Not just with the people we allowed into our respective lives, but also with us, as people, as friends. Are we back to, no, we're close. Recognize some of these lines. It really does get complicated as we get older, doesn't it? Not everything has to be, though. Even if it's the form of a promise I have no idea when I'll be able to fulfill.
I swear, I'll explain when it's all over.
The silence afterwards brings an even heavier air between us. Something that Rebecca, thankfully, doesn't allow to linger more than necessary.
I suppose you have to go now, huh?
I suppose I do. Situation's already awkward as it is. Dragging this out will only make it more... what? Difficult? Messed up? As if it isn't already.
Back to your case again?
Back to the case. Actually, I was fired. Don't really have to. I have no case. As far as the job is concerned, I have the weekend off until I have to report to Chief on Monday. Though I don't want to just throw in the towel on this. Orders are orders. This isn't like the movies. I don't get to say, fuck off, throw my gun and badge it in, become some vigilante, save the day, and get my job back. I'd rather get my ass thrown in jail than do any of that. No, oh, come on. You telling me Ashton has not had some fantasy dream of throwing the gun at the chief and becoming a vigilante? Come on. But it's also not my nature to sit still and do nothing. It'll drive me crazy if I just idle about. Same stuff Zachary's also been trying to tell me. Things even the news have been blasting out to the general populace lately. Evening, afternoon, morning, all deaths with the same modus, blamed on a single serial killer. But looking at the closed door of Isabella's apartment, I couldn't bring myself not to act. And after Rebecca's claims last night, If another person important to me ends up in the hospital because I didn't listen, there wouldn't be enough regret in the world. Fuck, I almost came close to losing Isabella.
Well, glad to hear you're talking to someone, at least. Even if it's not me. You sure you're not bothering the professor or anything? Don't you be a cheeky brat now. I'm sure he's a very busy man.
Stop being such a cheeky brat, Ashton.
You pointed that out yourself last night.
Becca, even if he is, you know he'll make time for me. I'm his favorite after all, aren't I?
An attempt to keep things light again. Bad move, apparently. Becca just punches me and then slams the door in my face. All I get in response is that roll of her eyes and the door being slammed shut in my face.
I probably deserve that.
We'll just have to fix this some other time. By then, her temper is sure to have cooled off significantly. Okay, I mean, this is certainly a better than we got last time. She's not loving it, but you know. Zach rescued by Ashton. Now suspicious of what's happening. Ashton informed Zach he would try to get the bot. Okay, so we're about to get to that bit. Yeah, okay. Hopefully. For now, I can't laze around. Gotta attend to things that matter more. Find Professor Clark, deliver the bad news, then maybe I'll drop by Zach's, check on him, hear what he has to say. He has also read that damn letter. He's also been saying odd things about a bunch of photographs. Might as well, while I'm here, playing a paranormal detective, or was it supernatural? I can't remember. Professor Clark has a lot to say about that if you ever want to talk to him about it. Whatever, it wouldn't hurt to anyone if I tried to get to the bottom of this. If nothing comes out of this, good. Everyone can shut up about stupid curses and we can finally get back on track with our lives. On to more important stuff, like my love triangle. If there is something...
I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
And so, with a last deep draw of breath, I step out into the morning, setting aside my own problems for now, all while carrying a new set of uncertainties with me. If I'm lucky, Professor Clark has no other obligations today, I know just where to find him. Alright. Modern crowd of people walking their dog. I thought, is this new? Where are we? Okay, apparently it is. Oh, interesting. What was... Huh. Maybe Isabella is the change here? Yeah, I bet that is exactly what it is. Because I think Isabella comes out in this bit last time. That would make some sense. Okay. People walking their dogs, kids playing game of tag, and a few who are simply content to lay in their blankets with a book in hand. Cheers and laughter, mostly from children and families, lends the place with some kind of a warm atmosphere. I tend to avoid the park precisely because of this. No use reminding myself of the could-haves when it's already over. Mom's doing well with her career, Dad's also fine the last time I visited. Although neither remarried, they're both content with their lives as it is. I'm probably the only one still caught up with it, hence my aversion. But all in all, it's still a pleasant sight to see, if you're the kind who takes joy in such sights. Professor Clark does, and as expected, I find him enjoying a walk around the place moments later. He stops as soon as he sees me, a small grin spreading across his face when I approach, his hand raised in casual greeting.
Not running today, Professor?
Oh, no, not today.
No, I haven't run in 30 years.
Just thought I'd enjoy the nice weather before it takes a turn for the norm again. And to what do I owe the pleasure?
The guy certainly looks happy right now, in any case. I almost don't want to break the news to him. But it's better to get this off quick, as long as he doesn't shoot the messenger. He's not the type, however. Long-held resentment can change a person. Even someone as mild-mannered as the professor.
Maybe we should sit down first.
With a slight gesture of my hand, I lead the two of us to a nearby bench, away from anyone who might want to listen in. Not that there's much to hear, it's just for the sake of his privacy. He's had enough of this city's tattlers 10 years ago. There's definitely no need to feed more fuel to a fire that has already died down years ago. I wait for him to take the empty space beside me before starting. Instead, he spares a moment to give me a once-over, quiet and unblinking during his scrutiny. It reminds he's become evil. He's doing the evil anime. It reminds me of all those times he has done the same back when I was still his student. I try not to flinch meanwhile. Are you and Johannes related in any way? Johannes? I never know how to say his name. Once he's... I know I've heard it like a million times. Once he's done, he simply raises a hand, reaching up to correct his glasses. A habit, as I've learned many years ago. He does that once he's found what he's searching for. A nervous tic or an odd stain on one's person. Something to tell him about the one in front of him. The art of keen observation? I learned it from the man. It's very likely that he already has an idea of what this might be about from my appearance and expression alone. Despite this, he allows me to speak first and wordlessly takes the open seat beside me, a smile still on his face as he watches the scene in front of us. Funny how the world simply goes on while we sit here with this shadow looming over us.
I was hoping to talk to you about the, you know, the case.
The one with the dead body in the sofa. I suppose I'm just the downer today. As soon as I say those words, a look of concern replaces his cheery expression.
You aren't in trouble, are you?
For a second, I hesitate, looking at the dirt beneath my shoes. But I manage, eventually. After a long, ragged draw of breath, I pick up where I've left off, though still fumbling with my words.
Well, I'm in a bit of trouble, if you can call it that.
He quickly raises a questioning brow at that.
But I'm not in danger or anything.
You've said that same excuse a million times before, Detective Inspector. Those circles under your eyes and your slouch tell a different story.
It's nothing like what you're thinking. Don't worry. I was taken off the Luxborn firm case.
I expect anger, frustration, maybe even disappointment, but all he gives me is a small sigh of relief.
Is that so? Well, at least you aren't in danger. Liz wouldn't be too happy if she saw you like this right now.
Liz. Aunt Liz, she insisted I call her, his late wife. A sweet-tempered woman by so many standards. They were never blessed with kids and contented herself with simply managing their bakery. But she's the closest I had to a mom in the few years I had known her. The professor, too. In the absence of my own parents in my life, the two fill the ache their separation left in me.
Believe me, you'll get an earful if you show up looking like that on her doorstep.
How many years has it been since? 9? 10? I can still remember it vividly. Two men, primly dressed, briefcases in hand, and a stern look on each of their faces. They were already frequent visitors to the bakery for a few months, something about the lot being a prime property in downtown Luxborn. I think they were hoping to settle a deal with them, but neither the couple gave in to their demands. Why should they? That quaint little shop was a dream for them. Aunt Liz sent me home early that night after a fruitless wait for the professor. The next morning, news of a bakery razed to the ground had spread across the whole city. One casualty. A few weeks later, the property was sold to Wright Enterprise. A fucking hotel now stands in its place. Of course, an investigation was launched after the incident. The name Luke Wright was briefly at the center of it, but with the lack of any evidence, the case ultimately went cold. The professor hides it well, however, I can tell he hates that man to this day. Might even blame Luke Wright for every tragedy that happens in this city. He has never blamed me, though, and I'm equally as responsible. These damn potholes! Luke Wright! I knew something's off the moment those men stepped inside the shop. I could have saved her that night. I could have prevented anything from happening to her. Called for help, or whatever. I didn't. So it continues to eat at me until today. The guilt. The Luxborn firm case would have been our chance at reopening that old case if we could prove Luke right of his crimes. Instead, we're back to square one. Yet, all he has for me are words of comfort. To think he can still be this concerned about me after my carelessness, after I've broken another promise a second time. People never cease to amaze me. People are awesome.
You might think that you have failed as an officer. Or maybe you think that you have failed me.
But really, the only one you failed is yourself, and also everyone.
And you know more than anyone. I would love to see that man taken down. If anyone deserves to be tried in high court, it's him.
What I would not give to see somebody just kick that dude in the balls.
Goodness knows what awful things he's done. But I'm glad nothing's happened to you while you were working on this. That's what's most important. I'd hate to get news like that again.
Suddenly, he stops. Thoughtful look flashes in his eyes as he thumbs the wedding band on his ring finger before he continues. Another habit. He's never removed it since that day. He never thought once to remarry, even when he managed to continue with his life and return to some semblance of normalcy. It's his way of honoring her, I suppose, when he couldn't bring to justice the man responsible for his loss. Some people are just hard to forget.
It's not like another death. Yours or even his will bring back my wife.
Silence falls between us afterwards. I don't quite know what to say after that, really. Should I apologize? Show some sympathy? Going into this, I should have thought of something other than just breaking the news to him. As it is, it seems the only thing we can do is feel sorry for each other's misfortunes. On another occasion, under different circumstances, I might have accepted that, but...
And I don't know if I've told you yet, but the one in the news recently, the girl, she was the one you kept mentioning before, yes? The girl you frequently hang out with.
The one that you're, like, clearly in love with and everybody knows it.
They said she briefly worked for them, as their real estate agent for the mansion. I've just heard about it, although, for what it's worth, I'm sorry about what happened to your friend.
It's worth very little, Clark.
I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but if this is that man's doing...
Professor, please.
Stop. They come out more strained than usual, more than what I'm accustomed to when speaking to the older man. Maybe if things around me hadn't started going beyond my control, the letter, the mansion, the supposed curse behind those, I'd still be quick to blame it all on the bastard, too. But as much as I want to keep holding him responsible for it, to add another to his list of sins...
Please don't finish that.
All this time, I prided myself over being the one to always know. But ghosts and curses, these are things completely out of my depth. Professor Clark's right in some way. Things would be much easier if we just blamed Luke Wright for all of this. At least finding evidence would be a breeze, and I'd be all too happy to put him in a place he belongs. Although if he was, in any way, also complicit to what happened to her, legalities have my hands tied. But maybe that's my fault. Might have missed the ticket to closing the case once and for all last night. If only I'd done a better job during the party. If only I'd spent significantly less time eating appetizers. But then, the commotion. There was Hannah Wright and Rebecca distracting me from my purpose, too. I'd include that gate crasher as well, even though it was only just for a moment. So many things have gone wrong last night that...
This isn't a prank! I saw something! See? This is why I didn't want to tell you guys. It's not a joke! Will you guys listen to me first? I saw something in the house earlier. It stood right in front of me. If I hadn't gotten away, that thing might have...
Last night, at the party, I wasn't on
It's
drugs.
real. What do you think I saw? It happened after, when I was trying to get away. I almost got stuck in the same room with that thing. We're all in danger. I thought you were my friends. Why don't you believe me?
That woman.
Why don't we all calm down first? I'm sure Isabella has her reasons too. No need to be hard on her.
Shit! If that was what Isabella had been warning us about, if it was the same thing Rebecca talked about last night, or what Zach told me about a few days ago, how many of these instances have I dismissed since reading the letter? How many have I ignored and passed off as some effect of fatigue or lack of sleep? Even last night, a hallucinogen lacing the food is the first thing I considered, purely because that's what my training dictates. It's a mindset I've grown used to. It's the setting the gears in my head automatically takes in a situation like that. Of course, I'm not discounting all of that yet until I have enough information, something to form a conclusion from, proof in whatever form it may come. But thinking straight is impossible when all of a sudden, all your beliefs are being upturned, in the most violent way possible at that. Jesus, I need a sounding board. I need someone to talk to. And Zach's the best person for that.
I have to go.
Already? Wait, Ashton, where are you?
No, I must leave us. But you'll see me again, Professor, one day. I don't have time to stop and listen to what Geezer has to say as I bolt up and run like a bat out of hell. Getting back to my car in record time, I don't waste a second to hit the road and drive to Zach's place. If any one of us knows anything about what's going on, who can help sort the muddled mess my mind is, it's got to be him. He listened to Isabella. He also tried to talk to me, and I was, like, really mean about it. Alright, well, that is gonna have to do it for today. We will have to see where, Ashton's continuing B-Sides adventures take us next time. Until then, this has been Downstage Gaming. I've been your host, Josh, and I will catch you all next time.